When will the next general elections in Kenya be? Is it true that they'll be in 2026, which is just around the corner, August 2026? Or will the elections be in 2027, as many Kenyans are expecting? Now, there have been some very dramatic developments in recent weeks, and indeed many of you have written to me asking me to do a video on this subject. And so here it is. And this one is going to be a short video, although we're going to look at this thoroughly. But you see the thing here, this is an open and shut case. Our Constitution is supreme. Okay? In fact, the biggest question on the minds of those who have realized that those who are reminding us what the Constitution is saying are correct. Yeah, there's no question of interpretation here. The question on our minds is, how did we get here? How is it that some people changed things so that they stayed long in office? That is really the question. Because make no mistake about it, it was deliberate. But let us back up a little so that we not only understand how serious this thing is, but we also acknowledge that this is not going away. It's not. Because the Constitution is supreme. Okay? And it says very clearly, elections are due on the 5th year, okay, which is 2026, and on the 2nd Tuesday of the month of August of that year. Very clear. Apart from the activism, courtesy of the Safina Party, I believe is the deputy party leader, Lawyer Willis Otieno, there is more than that. In case you didn't know, 3 petitioners have gone to the Supreme Court with this case, and they argue a general election held in Kenya any other time other than August 2026 will be contrary to the Constitution. And indeed, if you read our Constitution, that is true. Of course, the immediate very good news is that it will cut short, the reign of the current regime of William Samoei Ruto. Okay? Who knows by now, because he has said it even in public, that Kenyans don't like him. Okay? And unfortunately, he is supposed to be an elected leader. And so when an elected leader is not liked, is not wanted by the people who are supposed to have elected him, I mean, he should have seen the writing on the wall. Anyway, many Kenyans will be happy. Many Kenyans will wish that the Supreme Court upholds our Constitution so as to end this nightmare of the Ruto regime earlier, instead of 2027, as early as 2026. You know, there's something super fascinating here. And I've said this before on this channel, but I believe many of us missed it, and we didn't take it seriously. Amongst the people who crafted our 2010 Constitution, because it went through many stages, and indeed the 2010 Constitution was birthed from the famous Bombers draft. People were just changing things here and there as we went along. But the original Bombers draft had many booby traps to deal with politicians. Oh yes, there are so many booby traps there, because these people, bless their hearts, knew very well how politicians behave. And I'm sure they're able to very easily predict possible reactions, possible responses, and possible actions of politicians to try and water down what the Constitution wanted to do for long-suffering Kenyans. For instance, while politicians rushed very quickly to choose the presidential system over the parliamentary system. Yeah, because the presidential system is easier to do corruption with. And very important to them, gives control and power, yeah, around the president. Indeed, they focused on the big things, and they missed some small, harmless-looking clauses. For instance, the clause that gives absolute power to the people and allows them to exercise this power either indirectly through the elected leaders or directly. That is in the Constitution. And it gives a lot of leeway. Did you know that people can even form county assemblies countrywide? And if they have enough sway, they can remove a government? Oh yes, very constitutionally. Indeed, if I may quickly remind you, do you remember what NASA were doing shortly before the handshake? That is precisely what they were doing. And it was being led by a man called David Ndii, whose credentials in the eyes of Kenyans at that time were very different from what they are now, because he joined the oppressive UDA regime and can therefore never ever distance himself from the very oppressive economic policies pushed through by this Ruto regime. Anyway, my point is, there are many hidden booby traps in that Constitution. And even more fascinating, it is now becoming clear that those who put together the Constitution did something very cheeky. Okay? And what is this cheeky thing they did? They reduced the presidential term from 5 years. But they reduced it quietly. The 5th year after the election. The 5th year after the election, the second Tuesday. That is not 5 years. It's not. And now Kenyans have to live with yet another realization, that the political class have not only messed us in so many other areas, but they have also messed us up by disobeying the Constitution and extending their terms in office for their own benefit against the people of Kenya. That is what now Kenyans must come to terms with. Hey, this is very serious. It will be interesting to see what verdict we get from the Supreme Court. But already the Supreme Court is under the microscope of Kenyans. And therefore, it is rather obvious, more than obvious, that they are feeling the pressure. And therefore, making decisions to please the executive is out of question. That is highly unlikely. That is the way things are looking. And therefore, in my opinion, the chances of these 3 petitioners getting the Supreme Court to agree with them are very high. I know many Kenyans did not believe. Even when this lawyer started talking, many Kenyans thought, hii ni story ajabu. Many Kenyans did not want to believe that actually he may be onto something. But you see, our Constitution was written in very simple language, deliberately so. It avoided legal jargon. And therefore anybody can pick up the Constitution and read for themselves. And if they understand the English language, it is very easy to see what it is. And that's why I said earlier, this is an open and shut case. Elections must be in 2026 and not 2027. And of course this complicates matters further for the Ruto regime. And there is something else. In case the Supreme Court agrees with these 3 petitioners, it raises other issues, like the fact that former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta served a certain period in office illegally. He was not supposed to be in office. And that means that a petitioner can go to court and contest a certain law that has already been passed and was signed into law by former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta when his term had expired and ask the court to quash it. This thing, my friends, is deep and it is messy. But let us wait and see what happens. Now, very quickly before I go, thank you so much for all those who have responded and send me a gift. Asanteni sana, mbarikiwe sana, over this ongoing celebrations of 20 years of the Kumekucha brand. 20 years, 2 decades. That's a long time. I thank you all so much. And in case you didn't know, what I'm going to do at the end of this celebration period on May 6th is that we're going to select 20 people who will win a valuable free golden pass to all Kumekucha products, past, present and future. They'll be able to get everything for free. Okay, all you have to do is that when you send in your gift, make sure that you also text me your email address. Yeah. You can see the details on your screen, how to get that birthday gift to me. Yeah, there's a number there, M-Pesa number. And please don't forget, immediately after your M-Pesa or PayPal, make sure you text me your email address. Asanteni sana. And of course I continue to celebrate. I thank Almighty God for this far He has brought me. And I look forward to the future and what is in store for me in this journey of life and what is in store for the Kumekucha brand. I am sure greater heights, greater things. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.